Today on Rappler, President Benigno Aquino's public satisfaction ratings plummet 16 points. The World Health Organization says vaccines for the deadly Ebola virus might be ready by 2015. And a shocking photo of the son of an ISIS militant holding a decapitated head circulates on Twitter.
Hello, I'm Paterno S. Makel. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The performance ratings of President Benigno Aquino's administration dropped steeply in the last quarter. A June Social Weather Stations or SWS survey puts Aquino's performance rating at plus 29 points. It was a 16 percentage point drop from plus 45 last March. Aquino also got negative net satisfaction ratings on 4 issues: delay in justice for Maguindanao massacre victims, oil price hikes, inflation of prices, and hunger alleviation. The poorest segment, Class E, gave the administration the highest rating at 38 points, while classes A, B, C, and D registered a plus 27. Presidential spokesman Edwin Lasherda on Monday brushed off the severe decline. He says the survey is a mere snapshot of Aquino's full term. Lasherda also says the administration remains, quote, undeterred by the numbers and will continue to focus on the work yet to be done. A survey conducted by polling firm Pulse Asia in July also showed negative net approval ratings for the administration in controlling inflation and reducing poverty. Senator J.V. Ejercito points out inaccuracies in the President's State of the Nation Address accomplishment list. In his SONA last July, Aquino cited the disasters that hit the Philippines last year: the 3-week siege of Zamboanga City in September 2013, and the devastation of Super Typhoon Yolanda or Haiyan in November. Aquino claimed the government quickly responded to Yolanda-hit areas within 48 hours. He also said the victims of the Zamboanga siege will be moving into their new homes this August. But in his counter-SONA, Ejercito says this was far from reality.
Paumanhin po, Ginoong Pangulo, pero tila malayo ito sa katotohanan na nangyari. At isa itong malaking insulto para sa mga manamatay sa dilubyo. Alam ng sambayanan na hindi agad nakaresponde ang gobyerno. Makupad pa rin hanggang ngayon ang pagsisikap ng gobyerno sa rehabilitasyon ng mga naapektadong lugar. Sa kaso ng Zamboanga Siege, hindi tamang paasahin ang mga naging biktima. Nalilipat na sila sa bagong tirahan ngayong Agosto. Dahil ang katotohanan, ginagawa pa lamang ang clearing operations sa Marta Drive. Hindi pa umuusad ang rehabilitasyon at mismong ang project officer na po ang nagsabing imposibleng matapos nila ang tirahan ngayong Agosto.
While Ejercito lauds accomplishments on the economic front, he says the Aquino administration has failed to generate enough jobs and move beyond what he calls the dole-out system of Aquino's anti-poverty program. Executive Secretary Paquito Ochoa Jr. asks the Supreme Court to include Solicitor General Francis JARDELEZA in the list of new nominees for new Supreme Court Associate Justice. Widely considered as the President's choice for the post, JARDELEZA was excluded in the shortlist of candidates submitted by the Judicial and Bar Council or JBC to President Benigno Aquino because of integrity issues raised by Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. During the JBC's closed-door deliberations, Sereno allegedly raised a rule requiring a unanimous council vote for candidates faced with minor integrity issues. Finding this unjust, Ochoa asked the court to declare the rule invalid, saying it goes against the collegial nature of the JBC. JARDELEZA earlier filed a petition asking the court to order the inclusion of his name in the JBC shortlist. This is his third attempt to join the High Court. Peace panels of the government and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front or MILF end a 10-day workshop in Davao without the final draft of the Bangsamoro Basic Law. But both parties agreed to submit a draft to President Benigno Aquino by August 18. The law, which would create a new autonomous government in Mindanao, is the next phase of the historic peace agreement signed last March. Earlier, the MILF accused Malacanang of watering down the draft law submitted by the Bangsamoro Transition Commission. A series of discussions were held to bridge the gap between the versions of the Transition Commission and Malacanang. Senate President Franklin Drilon says Malacanang has until the end of August to to submit an acceptable version. She says non-passage of the law is not an option. Senior business executives rate the central bank as the best performing government agency. The Senate, which was hit by corruption scandals, is rated the worst. In a survey by the Makati Business Club or MBC, the central bank gets the highest net satisfaction score of 95.4 for helping maintain financial stability that, quote, supports sustained growth necessary for inclusive development. Also in the top 10 are State Weather Bureau PAGASA, the Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process, and the Philippine Statistics Authority. 19 agencies led by the Senate received negative net satisfaction scores. The World Health Organization, or WHO, says vaccines for the deadly Ebola virus will likely be ready by early next year. There is currently no available cure for Ebola, which has killed nearly 1,000 people in West Africa. Several vaccines are being tested. A treatment by San Diego-based MAP biopharmaceutical ZMAP may have been effective in treating 2 Americans recently infected in Africa. British pharma giant GlaxoSmithKline is set to start clinical trials of a vaccine next month. But UN Assistant Director General Marie-Paul Keeney says any vaccine rushed to market would not be tested as rigorously. During the H1N1 swine flu pandemic in 2009, WHO was accused of helping line the pockets of the pharmaceutical companies. Keeney says, quote, people might accuse us of playing with the industry. I would prefer to be criticized for a conflict of interest than to be criticized for doing nothing. A fresh 72-hour ceasefire between Israel and Hamas begins in Gaza Monday, paving the way for talks in Egypt in a bid to end a month-long conflict. An Israeli official says, quote, Israel has accepted the Egyptian proposal for a ceasefire. Since July 8, the Gaza unrest killed at least 1,939 Palestinians and 67 Israelis. Egypt urges Israel and the Palestinians to use the new truce to, quote, reach a comprehensive and permanent ceasefire. Hamas wants an end to the Israeli-Egyptian blockade on Gaza, while Israel wants Hamas to dismantle its formidable arsenal of rockets and other weapons. Over the weekend, tens of thousands of Iraqis safely escaped Mount Sinjar and have been escorted by Kurdish forces back to Iraq. Earlier last week, U.S. President Barack Obama authorized airstrikes and aid drops to fight militants from terrorist group Islamic State of Iraq in Syria, or ISIS, and prevent genocide. Analysts say the price for U.S. involvement may mean an attack on U.S. soil. A U.S. State Department official says every month, 30 to 50 suicide bombers deployed in Syria and Iraq are, quote, Western passport holders. About 12,000 foreign fighters are estimated to have fought in Syria, more than the 10,000 in Afghanistan. A shocking photo circulates on Twitter, drawing condemnation from Australian and U.S. officials. A young boy, believed to be the son of an Australian man fighting for terrorist group ISIS, is shown holding a decapitated head in a photo reportedly taken in Syria. The picture was posted on the Twitter account of Khaled Sharoof, an Australian man who fled to Syria last year. It was captioned with the words, "That's my boy." Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott says the image shows the barbaric nature of ISIS extremists. Defense Minister David Johnston says he was revolted by the image, which he called a, quote, shocking misrepresentation of Islam. Australia has an arrest warrant out for Sharoof. Officials say up to 150 Australians are fighting alongside militants overseas, mostly in Iraq and Syria. Dutch forensics experts identify 65 victims of the ill-fated Malaysia Airlines flight MH17. The last of the Dutch, Australian, and Malaysian investigators left Ukraine amid clashes between government and insurgents in the area. Forensics investigators say around 176, quote, more or less complete bodies have arrived in the Netherlands, as well as 527 body parts. The Dutch government earlier said it could still take months to identify all victims. MH17 exploded over insurgent-held East Ukraine on July 17, killing all 298 on board. The West accuses Russia-backed separatists of shooting it down. Let's now look at Rappler's Trap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 8, if North Korea's Kim Jong-un has NBA star Dennis Rodman, Russia's Vladimir Putin has Steven Seagal. The Hollywood tough guy performed in a concert in Crimea over the weekend with flags of the Ukraine separatist group prominently displayed. Seagal has come under fire for supporting Russia's annexation of Crimea. He considers President Putin, quote, a friend and a brother. At number 9, a regulation meant to encourage condom use in the fight against AIDS causes some pornography studios in Los Angeles to fold up. From 480 permits in 2012, only 40 were issued in 2013 and 20 in 2014. Porn executive Stephen Hirsch said LA County is, quote, the only place where people are required to wear a condom on a porn set. Hirsch believes requiring actors to take an HIV test before taking on a porn role worked well, as not one person became infected from porn work in 10 years. And at number 10, anonymous social network apps like Whisper, Yik Yak, and Secret rely on a virtual police force based in the Philippines to moderate content. Teams from outsourcing firms Task Us are in charge of deleting inappropriate or demeaning posts that come from the apps. In a report, GOV'T says a combination of computer algorithms and moderators work together to flag posts. The initiative comes as anonymous apps face criticism for failing to stem the tide of demeaning posts on their networks. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com/wrap. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories with the most clicks. It's a pretty negative day on our mood navigator today. We have a few positive stories today, like this one. We have WHO Ebola vaccine realistic by 2015, 52% happy. The other stories on our mood navigator are negative stories, like this one on politics, Binay plus LP in 2016, 29% annoyed and 37% angry. The Ambatuan case chaos about the Maguindanao massacre, 75% angry. And the story that got the most number of votes today, the most number of red votes today. Shocking photo, child of ISIS fighter holds decapitated head, 74% angry. It's a red day on our mood navigator today. And today, most people are angry. That's Rappler's Newscast for today, Monday, August 11, 2014. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Benigno Aquino. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.